Hi everyone, today we continue our video series focusing on communication, and specifically today we're going to be talking about our natural versus adapted communication style. What do I mean by that? Well, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I know that in my professional career, before becoming a coach, I had taken the DISC assessment countless times. And most of the time we were using an assessment where it would spit out a particular dominant style. And in my case, that was a D. So for most of my professional career, I identified as a D because when I would take the DISC assessment, that's what would come up for me. Now, when I became a coach, I discovered that there were numerous vendors that you could go to for the DISC assessment. And one particular vendor that I would go to would assess or would be able to spit out the difference between my natural and adapted style. And this was mind-blowing. It changed everything in how I perceived myself, because what it spit back out to me was that I wasn't a D, I was a D in my adapted style. But actually, my natural style is a dominant I and a small c. So what does that mean? It means who I truly am at the core is more of the I style. So the optimistic, fun, talkative type, as I've described it before, with the secondary style of being detail-oriented, about precision and data and what have you. However, my adapted style was very different. So when the D was showing up there, and actually there it was a D with an S, as an adapted style, what was very interesting about that is that it talks about how when I've been in certain professional environments, what has come out is that dominant results-oriented types of behaviors. Now that, all of a sudden, it was eye-opening for me, and it clarified so much about how I behave, because it showed me that I had been in environments where I had felt the need to show up in a different way, to show up in a more results-oriented go, go, go type fashion. And if you think back of what I've shared about my career and being in a male-dominant environment and very fast-paced and competitive environment, then it would totally make sense that I would adjust accordingly and that my behaviors would show up in that way. And that is so deeply ingrained that it still shows up. But what this assessment was able to differentiate was between the natural and adapted. So who we are at the core versus how we show up in certain environments as a result of the environment. So to me, that was very, very interesting. So I'm curious to know, have you noticed that difference in yourself? Is there a particular style that you might have, but you might have developed or adapted a different style because you're in a culture, maybe in your organization, with people around you who have different preferred communication styles, and this has an impact, particularly over time, if that's the culture that we spend the most time in. So again, I want to know from you, do you have a difference between your natural versus adapted style? And if you don't, what I've noticed is also as I do coaching and when people take the DISC assessment, there's many people that are same. And so what that means is that they don't have that internal battle, for lack of a better word. And what I mean by that is when we are using energy, either pushing up on energy or suppressing certain energy in order to conform to an environment, that takes a toll on us. Whether it's mental exhaustion, stress, anxiety, what have you, it takes a toll. So the awareness piece is knowing that there's a difference between our natural and adapted styles. And if you're not familiar with the fact that you might have that, then again, I'm going to share a link below to give you more information on DISC so you can find out if there's a difference between your natural and adapted DISC style.